Dems here by any chance? Mona? They're not? Okay. I know Debbie Willens is not here. Susie Avenery, are you here anywhere? No? Okay. The Fabers, I think I didn't see them either. Fabers, no? And Marlene Gold. No? Okay, no problem. Just want to see if, yeah, Rosens I know are not here. Well, how exciting. I did not even get my packing list yet because for technical reasons, I'm already packed, so I'm ready to go. Anytime you're all ready, we can go. Speaking of packing, Susan Loss is going to do the packing. She is. She told me she was. Our little packing talk. But people are asking me constantly about the issue of jacket and tie. So let me just say I spoke to the rabbi in Budapest today. We're actually very lucky. The Dohan Synagogue closes after our weekend not because they don't have enough Jews, but because they can't afford to heat it in the winter. So we are actually we'll be at the last service of the season for the Dohan Synagogue, which is very exciting. So I talked to the rabbi today, who told me that we do not have to wear jackets and ties to the services, just nice clothing, modest clothing.
I'm not going.
You don't have to wear a jacket and tie. Harold sleeps in a jacket and tie, so he'll be there with his jacket and tie. The other thing is that on the back of your, this is the updated itinerary, the last page, are the quote-unquote much anticipated bus lists. I have to tell you that in this particular case, the buses are almost irrelevant because we'll only be doing 2 days of, three days of touring in Poland, a half day in Budapest, and then we're on the boat. And the boat control, as Rabbi Loss I think is going to talk about, the boat actually controls touring at that point, so the buses become irrelevant. But just so you know which bus you'll head for after you get out of the airport, you'll know if you're on bus 1 or bus 2. So with that, do you want to go or do you want Shosh to go? Okay, go ahead.
I have a couple of comments. The most important thing you can know on this trip, there's one thing you have to know. Shosh, will you please stand up? This is the most important thing you know. I don't care what else you do on this entire trip. Don't touch the right shoulder. Okay, fundamentally, she's going to be going like this all the time because I can't remember right from left. She's going to have some surgery after the trip and has a so if you touch the shoulder, it's going to go like this constantly. So that's the most important thing to know. Secondly, I'm going to tell you, Howard, I listened to one of the lectures on tape so far. I couldn't be at the first 2 lectures. Tonight, you're even better in person. But did anyone admit, I'm not worried about this trip at all because he's coming. If you hear that he's not coming, the rest of the clergy aren't going to go either because we don't want to be with you. The boat we're going on, okay, there was a major discussion when this whole trip began. Where's my colleague, Rabbi Edwab? We had a debate. And the one thing we wanted to be sure of is the following. We could take you to a hotel that you'd complain about for a night. But the thought of being with this group on a cruise of 7 days and not being on the best was unacceptable. Do you understand that? And
I wanted to save you money.
No, I wasn't even going to go there. But it was unacceptable because this is going to be a wonderful experience. Most of the time when we get on the cruise is in charge of the buses. Do you understand that? Because they have 4 buses going out every day on trips. We will have at least one of us on each of those buses. We are not in the kind of control we have before, but that's fine. And hopefully you'll be going with people you like. If you find a group that has nothing to do with us on the boat and you want to go with them, we will certainly understand that. Or all the clergy and our professor will go on one. Okay. There is an opportunity, correct, in Vienna? Come on up. Why don't we do the 2 options? The 2 options in Vienna. One is
sorry. So the afternoon in Vienna, again, we don't really control the trip, so we wanted they give you a free afternoon in Vienna. So option one is you take a free afternoon in Vienna. By then, you'll probably be sick of us anyway, and you'll go have some torts in Vienna. That's one possibility. Second possibility is the ship runs a tour. It's an optional tour, which means you pay for it. It's $55 per person for the Schönbrunn Palace, which is a huge palace with it looks like actually the White House, with you know, the lawn out front. And it's a, what? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's the one outside the city. It's like a version of
It's the Schönbrunn Palace. It's a, and the third choice is because we're on the boat, they have given us the option, and you'll be getting an email about it tomorrow, of a Jewish tour of Vienna. I think it could be amazing. It's the synagogue that Howard was talking about. It's the Jewish Museum of Vienna, which is supposedly very, very good, and some other sites. It would be $40 per person, but they'll only run it if we guarantee them 30 people on that tour. You don't have to raise, actually, just I'm just interested. How many people would be interested in the Jewish tour? So it looks like it's going to go. So you'll get an email, you'll sign up for it, and they'll charge you $40 per person. Otherwise, you have a free afternoon, or you can go see the Schönbrunn. Good. Sorry.
We have done numerous trips to Israel and other places. What makes these trips really work? First of all, everyone gets to know everybody else. That's number one. Number two, everyone gets up on time and everyone arrives on time to everything we do. Got it? Because there's nothing that becomes more frustrating than having to wait for folks. And we really are really good at helping you get up, because if you get up on time, you have a friend in the room next door who's going to knock on your door if you don't get up on time. One of the things we will suggest we've learned as you start these things, just have someone next door who's going to check on you, because the time changes sometimes to make it difficult. Find someone you know, find someone you don't know, and have someone wake you up. So the way these tours work well, and we're going to have fun. It's like going to camp. We're going to camp. You understand? You all put your kids on camps all the summers, and you've gone to see your grandchildren on camp, some of us, and it's kind of wonderful. This is like going to camp as a group. We're going to be on the buses together. We're going to have a good time. The most important innovation on this trip, we've been doing trips for my life, close to 40 years, is the name tag that has the name on two sides. This is the first time in the history of Temple Israel travel, and probably on international travel, that when your name tag blows this way, it's your name. Now, there are some of you who may want to change your name on one side and be anonymous, but for the most part, we've given you the opportunity to have this vision here. In preparation for today, I read this book. Have any of you read the book? Okay. It really does it's around 20 pages. And there's not much in terms of clothing and dress and whatever. It's this weather, I think. From what they say in terms of time, it's the weather we're experiencing right now. Take a jacket, feel comfortable, and travel in comfortable clothes. Shosh has something to add to that. Oh, she is Shoshana, Shoshi. That's what everyone calls her. That's what I call her. How many have been with us in Israel trips? Raise your hands. Oh, okay. How many of you have had the worst time because you didn't ever go on a trip to Israel with us, and you've been to Israel, but you've never experienced the way you would have had you been with? Okay.
But they came back.
They came back.
Okay, just my one little comment and I'm sure you all have traveled a ton on your own and you know this, so for those that haven't, one thing that we have done in the past is we always pack in cases or those big plastic bags. So the nice thing is when you get on a boat and you've got a few drawers, you just drop it in the drawer, it's clean, you don't have to worry about it, your clothes are in there, or the bag. The same thing if you're putting your things on a shelf. But today, I learned a really great thing from my daughter, packing cubes. You can get them through Amazon, and it comes 4 in a pack, so they're different sizes, they're better than this even, and it comes with a laundry bag. So it just makes packing and unpacking so much easier. I throw this in my suitcase and I'm done with clothes in it, obviously. So that's just my one comment to add. And in addition to not needing ties or jackets, you also don't have to bring a skirt unless you're more comfortable wearing a skirt. Yeah. Aren't you so thrilled, Jim?
That's the trip to Scotland.
I thought that was on the same. Yeah.
Just modest, be modest. It's gotta be modest.
Modest. So cover your knees. Go ahead. You don't need skirts. You're in agreement. Okay. So if you have nice looking pants, so in other words, just have something that's a little bit dressier than your daily clothes that you're going to be out wandering in. Have something a little bit nicer. You know, a nicer sweater, a nicer top, and nicer pants and shoes. And I think you're good. Okay, Jim? Does that work for you? They're packing cubes. They look like this, but they're fancy. They're a little bit fancy. They're thicker. They're wider. And they come in different colors. And they come in different colors. Right here.
Oh, you have them on, you already Googled? How many did you order while we were talking? And they're sold out now? And you're prepared to sell them to the entire group. Rabbi Yedwab has additional information. Cantor Smolash, additional information. Why don't we let Cantor go first? And then.
Hey, Jen and I are really looking forward to traveling with you. And, you know, some people we've traveled with, some people we haven't, but getting to know each of you even better. It's an amazing opportunity, so thank you. We're excited. And I know for each of us, this is going to be a little journey. You've heard from really an amazing scholar, but a journey into our past in so many ways. You'll hear a little more when we're there. For me, it always feels like it's ancient history, but really 30 years before I was born, my father's family fled from a town just 50 kilometers outside of Warsaw. So for me, going back for the first time and seeing, you know, I won't be able to stand on the corner, but at least being in the area where that happened, it really bridges a lot. And I know for each of us, this is a little journey back in time. It's not a very hop for most of us. So we're going to see some of the most amazing places. We've been looking at these synagogues, centers of Hasidic life, centers of Reform life, standing in the place where a lot of the musical traditions that we enjoy so much happened. And we're going to have an amazing, amazing journey. But as we go, know that this is really, for each of us, going to be bridging a lot of amazing things that we'll bring back here. So I look forward to going through that with you and sharing little bits of music at each stop as we go. I mean, we're not going to have any major concerts or anything, but a little piece, I think, can bring a space alive in a beautiful way. So really looking forward.
I just want to add to that. We were talking about music, and the cantor said, "Well, I don't want to play that. It's too freilich for the Holocaust." And I referred him to Howard's first lecture, and I reminded him that this is not a Holocaust tour, right? I mean, Howard was very, very clear, and I think he set it up perfectly for us. This is a tour back to our Jewish roots. Unfortunately, it includes some stops at concentration camps, or Debbie, what do we call them now? Or death camps now, or whatever they're called now. But this is a tour about the wonderful, multifaceted aspects of Eastern European culture, Ashkenazic culture. In a few years, we'll be taking a similar trip about Sephardic Judaism, which will deal with 1492, but will also deal with the hundreds of years of history, the Golden Age of Spain, and so on. So this is a very positive trip with some very sad moments that would be built into it. Okay. One more packing thing. We do have the problem that we'll be getting on a bus, going from town to town, and then on a boat to Jenemsveld. So in the packet, it mentions that you should, if you're going with someone else, you should switch clothes with them. Not you. Okay, I'm not wearing the skirt, right? You should switch clothes with them, and of course, if you're not, put some extra clothes in your backpack or whatever you're taking on the plane, because luggage can get lost. And in this case, you do want a few days of clothing with you, so do that. People on the way here asked me about money, and I just want to repeat what we've talked about before. Mostly, you want to make sure that your ATM card has the correct little signet on it. You have to go to your bank. Will this work in Prague? Will this work in Budapest? Will this work in Vienna? And so on. Make sure you can draw money out. You may want to bring some money with you to change as well, because there's different currencies as we go along. It's not just the euro, unfortunately. I also made sure that my credit card is there's 4 or 5 good credit cards that do not charge extra fees in Europe. I don't know if you have time to deal with that at this point, but certainly, and you can go online and look for a list of those credit cards. Someone asked about lunches and dinners and so on. It's Andy. He's always thinking about food, my friend Andy. So most of the breakfast is included generally in the day. We try not to fill you with too many dinners when you're out in a town, because one of the things we like to do is we follow Annabelle to the best restaurant in the area, and we eat wherever that is. So for lunch and everything, often we'll be out in the town, and you'll go and have it on your own, but there are dinners included as well throughout the trip, and it's usually listed on your itinerary. Andy, was there another question you asked me about that I didn't? And food on the cruise, of course, will be, there'll be more than enough, I promise, yes.
I have some good news.
Yeah.
Two things. Number one, the euro is down to $1.19.
Okay.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Number two, if you're concerned about safety on your credit cards with the chip, these things are available.
Yes.
They can't be scanned. You can buy them on the internet. They're very inexpensive. They're called,
Yeah.
third thing, and this is a wonderful thing, if you read the column, Krieger's column in Travel 2 weeks ago, she talked about Viking taking people off of the ship
Right.
because of the low level of water of the Danube in certain areas. And I talked to Viking this morning, and as of today, everything is kosher.
Viking, we've been in contact with Viking just about every day. They say there won't be a problem, but if we end up in a bus, we'll have a great time anyway. So, yeah.
I mean, he mentioned euros. We looked at not very many of those.
Right, right. It's not. Most of them have their own currencies.
Will you recommend us buying some of that? Or
Yeah, as you go to a country, you'll buy a little bit, and I never buy currency here. I usually use my ATM card.
The money on the cruise is euros. They
Yeah.
use euros on the cruise.
The last thing that I need to talk about are cell phones. I've been getting lots of questions. If you haven't dealt with it yet, it's getting a little late. If you go on the IELT website, they list 4 companies that they deal with that sell, rent phones in Europe. I had our COO, Alan, do the research for us. For the clergy, they decided on the travel cell company, and what they decided is the option of getting not a chip, what's it called, a SIM card to be put into our current phones. For us, that's what made the most sense. You need to look at it on your own. What I'm begging you not to do is take your Verizon phone, call Verizon and say we want to go on the international plan, and then go online and get your email and so on, because you could come home with a $4,000 bill. So that is the one option I'm really begging you not to take. You can rent a phone, you can rent a SIM card, you can do whatever you want, but be careful about roaming. Your phones will pick up data even if you think you're not using them. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
I do this all the time.
Okay, good.
With my Apple.
Right.
You shut off the cellular.
Yeah.
After you do that, if you want to, I only text unless I'm in a Wi-Fi area.
Exactly. If you
5 cents.
if you don't care about the fact, the only thing is I can tell you they're not guaranteeing us that we're going to have Wi-Fi in the buses. They will have Wi-Fi in, I think I sent it out. Some of the hotels, you pay for it, some of it's free. You will have it on the boat. But for instance, one of the reasons that I need it is that if I am with one of you and you need to go, God forbid, to the hospital, I need to be able to get from point A to point B, and I don't have Wi-Fi during that time. So I need personally, because I'm a leader of the trip, I need mapping technology. If you don't feel you're ever going to get lost, then it's no big deal. But for me, it's something that I need. Anyone else?
And shut your data off of Rome,
Yes.
and you won't draw it.
Right. Yeah. If you want to turn your phone off and just use it to make phone calls and Wi-Fi, you're absolutely fine.
One addition,
Right.
I think it's really important. We all live with our telephones and our cell phones, and to the degree we're able not to think that that's what we want to travel with, use them for emergencies. You know what you used to tell your kids? Let's try to do everything we can to kind of like yell at me when I don't do it, okay? But let's try not to be on our iPads when we're driving through the most unbelievably beautiful places. I mean, there'll be moments we'll do it, and try not to be. We all have. In Israel, we just used the SIM card, and it worked great for reasons and we need it. We all need to be in connection, and that's really sad, to be frank with you. I traveled for a year and didn't have any. I called home once to America as a kid. I mean, that was it. Who could afford to call home? And now we're so constantly in touch. But to the degree we're able not to be all sitting and not talking to each other on a bus, We're not listening when the guide is speaking to us, where Howard is lecturing us, and we can get off those devices that bind us in a way that we really don't like, but we have to deal with. That would be fabulous. So kind of like use them, yell at me when I'm using them, she will. But let's talk to each other, let's meet each other, let's get to know each other. To me, as much as learning about the history and culture, it's really nice when you get to know new people. And we've met so many people over the years. Some of you are part of our friends we met on trips we would never have known, friends we went years ago to Israel with, who we would never had that opportunity to have relationships with. If we come home with those kind of relationships as well as wonderful memories, that's a guarantee to be something that you'll always be part of your history. So to me, that's really important. Andy, you have a question?
No, actually, from the next generation down, one of the suggestions that they have for communication is make sure you put the Skype app on your phone, and you can then use that with Wi-Fi. And so as long as you're in Wi-Fi, you're always
Skype. We all Skype. What? Yes, questions. Any other questions? Yes.
Any place we can't drink the water?
We'll be told. We'll be told. I did read today that you get water on the cruise. They put water in your you don't even have to buy it there. They give you free water. Unbelievable. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna experience a wonderful part of the world.
And to end where Rabbi Loss began, so Rabbi Loss's academic expertise is in the kings and prophets of the Bible. Mine is in the what they call the intertestamentary period and Sephardic Judaism. So if you have a question about Ashkenazic Judaism, about Eastern Europe, about the Holocaust, what you do is you ask Howard, okay, and you'll get it, or...
Don't make us feel uncomfortable. Where are you on this trip? You understand that? On the second trip, we're going to be really close. Well, where are you? Where are your family?
Right.
You know more than us on some of this things.
If you have a question about the meaning of life, God, you can come talk to us. But if it's about Eastern Europe, Howard is your source, okay?
Here's what I'm going to say. Well, just as a comment. I was going to say, well, you just finished writing your book on Budapest. I was going to announce that I just finished my book on Prague, and Rabbi Yedwab just finished his book on Vienna, the three cities you mentioned today. So we all have a book. His book is being published. His book is being imagined, and mine for very special people, I'll share with you privately. But it's a very special moment to be shared with very special people. It's not going to happen often.
We are not going to break up into buses because we really don't see this as a bus trip. We really see this as a whole group. We do hope you'll stay around and introduce yourselves to one another, anyone you don't know. The wonderful thing about our trip, and many of you have traveled with us, is that nobody kvetches. And the reason, is it true, Lori? Nobody kvetches. And the reason is because we throw you off the bus. It's like Survivor. You're done. Okay. I mean, no, it's not.
We're not interested. Really? No. And if you're positive and up, and you don't kvetch, you're having fun with everybody. No, I mean, if you have a problem, there's a difference. If you have an issue, you have a concern, come to Rabbi Yedwab.
Right. That's true.
But beyond that, the little things of life, of travel, are experiences we'll all have together.
Right.
How many groups where the leader has to get up and say no kvetch?
That's right, no kvetching. So here's the rule, basically. If the boat gets grounded in, I think it's around Regensburg, that it might, and they give us a luxury bus to drive to the next stop, you're not allowed to kvetch. If they give you your bag, put it on your shoulder, and expect you to walk to the next stop, okay, you can kvetch. Okay, that's the level that we're at in terms of your kvetchability.
Silent prayer to guarantee. If we do a prayer to guarantee, we're going to have plenty of water. So
Yes, please.
If the boat can't go down the river and they put us on the bus, how does the boat get down the river?
He's fetching already. What can I say?
Much lighter without you. It becomes much lighter without you.
I'm not talking about. I don't want to talk about it. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say first, I'm really looking forward to not only going with you, but I'm at meeting you as well, getting to know you. And yes, you're going to hear me talking a lot, so I apologize in advance for that. But it's what I'm supposed to do. I'm only talking because I'm supposed to do. But I did want to suggest, if you're interested, a couple of things you might want to read in advance. So I was going to share it with that whole group over there, but I'm just going to give it to you instead. So, what's that? Oh, send it in an email. Okay. Oh, I'll say it now and send it in an email. First is for Vienna. There are a lot of novels written about Vienna, but one of my favorites is a novel. It was written almost 100 years ago. It's by an author named Arthur Schnitzler, who is he's often called Hitler's literary doppelganger. Like if Hitler had been an author, it would have been this guy. And he wrote a novel called The Road into the Open. It's a story about a Jewish woman and a Viennese aristocrat who fall in love and have a love affair. And he's a very good writer. He's not that popular anymore, but it's a very good novel. I can't promise a happy ending, but it's a very good novel. It's one of those serious European novels. Then there's another book for Budapest. This one is called Budapest 1900, where it's basically a description. It's almost like a travel guide. It was written now, but the author is basically describing what did Budapest live 100 years, look like 100 years ago. And it gives you a nice flavor for the city. And lastly, a general reference for all of this stuff is there's an encyclopedia that was published about 3 years ago called the YIVO Encyclopedia of the Jews of Eastern Europe or something like that. And that one's entirely online. So you can go online and you can search by name, you can search by place. So if you want to get more background than you got from me or more information, that's a wonderful online resource. I mean, you can buy the books too, but that YIVO Encyclopedia, you can go and you can just you can check every one of these places online. It's a good place for information. And as we go, maybe I'll suggest other things as well. But I am looking forward to it.
I hope you'll join us on Friday night before we depart. We're going to have a blessing at Temple Israel, a last chance to just sort of give each other a hug, and we'll meet then, many of us at the airport, some of us when we get to Poland. Any other questions before we? The 7:30 service in the Corman Hall. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I would suggest is you should check with your insurance card if you're covered in Europe.
Sure, absolutely. I think there's a lot in the stuff we gave you. There's a whole thing about insurance, travel insurance, health insurance. Definitely read it. Make sure you have that under control.
Forgive me if it's been answered somewhere
Yeah.
today. Any luggage restrictions?
Yeah, it depends on your right.
But I'm not going to bring the luggage.
Yeah. So it's the same as the airlines would.
Pieces of luggage.
Yeah. So some of us who are gold or diamond or whatever on Delta have the ability to take more bags. Certainly, if you need to, we had on the Israel trip, we had a guy who had a large piece of machinery for his sleep apnea. Of course, you'll take in a second bag. Generally, though, we are traveling on buses with relatively limited space, and so it would be helpful if everyone would come with one large bag and something to take on the carry-on. That would be helpful, but there could be exceptions for all sorts of reasons, like you just need 20 pairs of shoes, for instance. But yeah. The talent show. You're in charge. Oh, I knew what I was going to tell you. Some of us are good at names, some of us not so good. These will help certainly, but in this particular case, it's really going to be easy to get to know each other because I've looked at the list, and basically, half the women in the group are past presidents of sisterhood. So just talk to them about sisterhood and you're fine. And half the men in the group are named Mark. So just call everyone Mark and talk about sisterhood and you won't have any problems whatsoever. Yeah.
The only problem with that is that the weight limits are lower in Europe than
Yeah, but we're not flying internally in Europe for most of us.
when we try to come home.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's all in the stuff they gave you. All the poundage and everything it's all right in there. Okay, we love you all. Schmooze, spend some time introducing yourself. Make sure you meet as many people as you can, and we will see you on Friday.